Hello boaters, welcome to Narrowboat Journeys. My name is Phil and I've lived aboard my narrowboat on the canal system for over 30 years. I share my home with my two cats, Bushka and Midge, and we spend our days travelling around the canal system and making videos. Today we're on the Macclesfield canal, on the northern edge of Macclesfield, and there's been a bit of a change of plan. At the end of the last cruising video I stopped here, which is close to Bridge 30, and the idea was to cycle down to the supermarket, do some shopping, and then next morning travel through Macclesfield. So I did the shopping, but then later on that afternoon I received a notification from the CRT that the canal was closed in Macclesfield. Apparently a culvert flowing underneath the canal had developed a serious leak, and it was losing so much water they had to shut the canal, and now it's actually been blocked off and drained in that section, and unfortunately the repair is going to take several months. This is a real big job, and it's a massive change to my plans, I can tell you. So that's it, I'm effectively trapped now north of Macclesfield, and I won't be able to go through Macclesfield until they've finished the repairs obviously, and that's not really expected until possibly the end of June. If only I'd carried on cruising the other day. Another 45 minutes cruise down the canal and I would have ended up mooring up past where the leak was, and then I would have been able to carry on my journey. But there's no way to predict these failures, they just happen. There's no warning about it, so that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. Anyway, I can't afford to wait around here for the repairs to be made. I'm getting very low on water. The toilets are getting a bit full, so I'm going to have to just boat on down the canal now until I get to the winding hole, which is by Bridge 33, turn around and then come back up the canal again, head towards through Bollington and on up to Marple, where I can get to the boaters facilities. However, I won't be doing all of that in just one trip. I'll make several trips to do it. In this trip we're just going down to the winding hole and back to where we started from. Over to our right, mostly hidden by trees, is a very large industrial estate, and to our left it's all fields. It's a bit of a drab day, but there are some early signs of spring starting to appear. That bird up ahead is a cormorant. It's diving for fish. big lump of wood there has been floating around in the canal for days. This is the site of an old, derelict swing bridge. There's lots of these on the Macclesfield Canal. And here is the winding hole. That's bridge 33 in the distance. I'm going to turn around here and then head on back up the canal. I'm going to show the turning manoeuvre completely in real time, just so you get an idea of how it's done. To turn, I would usually put the bow of the boat right up against the bank and then use the engine to swing the back end of the boat around. In this case, the water is so shallow that I actually run aground before I get as far as the bank, but it didn't really matter. Turning around can be very tricky if it's windy, and sometimes, or in fact quite often, you'll need to use a boat pole just to give the back end of the boat a shove. For this turn, however, I didn't need to use the boat pole. And we've stopped moving forwards without bumping the bank because the bow of the boat is in the mud. So now I put the gear into forward and I'm pushing hard on the tiller just to try and move the back end around. It can be a bit of a slow process, especially if the bow of the boat's in the mud. You'll notice sometimes when I'm doing it, I'm pushing on the tiller repeatedly like this, and that's because it just gives you a little bit of extra push. Once I've gone through about the halfway point of the turn, I'll put the engine into reverse and then bring the bow of the boat away from the mud and the bank. And then, when I'm back across the canal a bit further, I'll put the engine back into forward gear and then attempt to steer the remainder of the turn. This doesn't always go to plan, especially if it's windy. No problems today though. That's about enough. Now back into forwards before we run aground, and then hard on the tiller to swing the boat around. And that's it. Turned around. That was a nice easy one. Now it's back the way we came, back to bridge 30. There's a black cat there on the left. Because the canal is closed off in Macclesfield, it's effectively stopped the supply of water coming from Bosley Reservoir, and that means that the water levels have dropped just a little bit here, probably only about sort of 4, maybe 5 inches. You can barely see it, but I can certainly feel it as I'm boating along. I can feel the boat feels kind of sluggish, as though it's just dragging on the mud just a little bit. You do notice these things. It's very hard to explain, but you can feel a difference in the feel of the boat. Through this gateway you get a rare glimpse of the industrial estate. And here we are, back at Bridge 30 again. That was exciting, wasn't it? Not. Oh well, it had to be done. So now, for the foreseeable future, I shall be making videos over areas I've already covered. However, I will also be doing walking videos and cycling videos as well. And I'll be sharing these videos between my two channels, Narrowboat Journeys and Narrowboat Journeys Slow TV. So if you're interested, please subscribe to both channels. I think I'll end this video about here. I didn't stop cruising, but I carried on. This video has gone on long enough, so we'll carry on the trip in the next one. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.